Cincinnati just broke a lot of Filipino hearts. Alex Eala was 2 games from the biggest win of her career, and then it all slipped away in front of a stadium full of people who came to watch her make history. But here's the part almost nobody is talking about. The person whose perspective on this loss actually carries weight isn't some studio pundit who watched the highlights the next morning. It's Venus Williams, a 46-year-old legend with 23 Grand Slam titles across singles, doubles, and mixed doubles, and someone who has quite literally shared a court with Eala this season. Not once, but twice. So what does a 7-time major champion actually see when she watches Alex Eala play, and what has she already said about her that suddenly means so much more after Cincinnati? Stick with me, because this story is bigger than one bad set. Before we get to that, let's talk about what actually happened on court, because this wasn't a normal loss. Eala walked into the 3rd round in Cincinnati on the best run of her career. A maiden WTA title in Washington weeks earlier, a win over world number 3 Jessica Pegula, a 4th-round run at Wimbledon, 9 wins over top 10 players in a single season. She was seeded 17th, but she was playing like a top 10er herself. Her opponent, Amanda Anisimova, 9th seed, world number 10, a 2-time Grand Slam finalist with a serve built to end points in a blink. The two had never met on court before, and for the better part of an hour, Eala looked like the sharper player. The 5th game of the first set turned into a war, 20 minutes, 13 deuces, 8 breakpoints saved. Eala held, then broke, then closed the set 6-4. The Filipino fans packed into the stands were roaring. Then Anisimova leveled things in the 2nd set, breaking once and riding it to a 6-4 set of her own. That set up a decider, and this is where it gets painful. Eala broke immediately to lead 2-0. Victory was right there. And then it disappeared. Anisimova won the next 6 games in a row. 6 straight. Eala didn't win another game for the rest of the match. Final score, 4-6, 6-4, 6-2, in 2 hours and 28 minutes. It snapped her 5-match winning streak against top 10 opponents, and it ended her Cincinnati campaign in the cruelest way possible, from 2 games away from the finish line to nothing at all. The Filipino fans who had turned the venue into a sea of flags fell silent, and social media was flooded within minutes with heartbreak, disbelief, and a familiar question. What happened in that final set? Now here's why Venus Williams' perspective actually matters here, more than almost anyone else's. This isn't some outsider offering a hot take. Venus has been on court with Eala. Twice, actually. They first teamed up as doubles partners back in June at the Bad Homburg Grass event, reaching the quarterfinals together. Weeks later, they reunited at the Canadian Open in Toronto, and even though they lost their opening match to Miyu Kato and Ludmila Samsonova, Venus didn't hold back afterward. She told reporters she'd specifically sought Eala out as a partner, that they'd had, in her words, the best time playing, and that Alex is a world star. She went further, calling her incredible on and off the court, well-spoken, and an impressive young lady, adding that the two of them lift each other up. She even joked, half seriously, that Eala should put playing doubles with her sister Serena on her bucket list so she could, quote, complete the Williams sisters. That's not a passing compliment tossed out in a hallway. That's a 7-time major champion, someone who has seen every kind of talent tennis has produced over 3 decades, choosing to play alongside a 21-year-old more than once and then telling the room exactly why. And Eala has said just as much back. She's called sharing the court with Venus a genuine highlight of her career, and admitted that being out there with her pushes her to match that same competitive energy, to raise her own game just by proximity. It's the kind of mutual respect you can't fake in a press conference, and it's been building for months, long before Cincinnati ever happened. So when a legend like that has spent months courtside with Eala, watching how she handles pressure, watching how she carries herself between points, her red on this Cincinnati collapse carries real weight, even without a single news soundbite. Because everything Venus has already said about Eala points to the same conclusion. This is a player with the talent and the temperament to be great. What she's missing right now is the ability to close. And that's exactly the gap Cincinnati exposed. 2 games from the finish line, and the door swung shut. It's the kind of lesson that separates good careers from legendary ones, and it's one that Venus Williams, of all people, has lived through herself. Here's the thing about this loss, though. It isn't really about one bad set. Eala has beaten 9 top 10 players this year. She has a maiden title. She has a career high ranking of number 20, soon to be 18. This version of her belongs in these matches. What Cincinnati showed is that belonging isn't the same as finishing. And that's a fixable problem, not a fatal one. Even in defeat, the numbers tell a story of a career that is still very much on the rise. Her third-round finish still banked her more than $47,000 in prize money, pushing her career earnings well past the $3 million mark. She's already carrying sponsorship deals with Nike, Babolat, and multiple Philippine brands, from Globe Telecom to the Bank of the Philippine Islands, and she is still only 21 years old, with what most people in the sport agree is her best tennis still ahead of her. So where does this leave Alex Eala now? She's got roughly 2 weeks before the US Open begins in New York, a city with the largest Filipino population outside the Philippines itself, which means the crowd noise that followed her through Washington and Cincinnati isn't going anywhere. If anything, it gets louder. This is her second appearance in the main draw at Flushing Meadows, and after a season like this one, expectations are no longer modest. The question everyone in tennis is now asking is simple. Does Eala take the Cincinnati collapse and let it rattle her? Or does she take it the way Venus clearly believes she can, as one more lesson on the road to actually finishing what she starts? Nobody, not even a 23-time major champion, can answer that for her. But if the last few months are any indication, from Washington to Wimbledon to 9 wins over the world's best, Alex Eala has made a habit of answering questions like that on her own terms. New York is next, and the whole tennis world, Venus Williams very much included, will be watching closely to see what she does with it. If you want more honest breakdowns like this one, stick around. There's a lot more to come from Eala's US Open run.